Hey folks, it's Tommy Z with you back again with another video, and today I want to talk about having a perfect day. Now, this is a very powerful and simple idea, and I believe it's going to help you as much as it has helped me. And what is the basic premise of this idea? We all have dreams, right? You all have a certain ideal that you're reaching for. You have a certain vision of yourself that you want to accomplish. And what happens? You have this ideal, you have this goal, you have this dream. But then life happens. You wake up, there's all these demands on your time. There's all these things you got to do for other folks. I call this the whirlwind. We all get swept up in the whirlwind. And what happens? You get home at the end of this day. You think about your dream. You're nowhere close to it. You haven't gotten any closer to it after this day of running around in the whirlwind, helping other people fulfill their dreams, but you're not moving any closer. So then the pain hits. Then you want to numb yourself. You want to distract yourself from that pain, from that realization that you felt like, you feel like days, weeks, months, years are going by, and you haven't really taken any tangible steps toward your dream. And that can become overwhelming. Then you want to distract yourself, you put on Netflix, and you tune out for the rest of the day, only to repeat the process the next day. So I've had this happen on a number of times, and I thought about this for a while, and I thought, how do I overcome this? So instead of thinking about your dream as a whole, your ideal, of course, it's important to keep that in mind, but that's really vague, right? Instead, what I thought about is, what if I could design a perfect day? In other words, what if there were a certain number of specific actions that would make me feel as if I have actually moved on the things that matter to me most? And what if I could perform these actions every single day so that no matter what kind of whirlwind happens, no matter what kind of tasks, projects come my way from other people, I have a few actions that I call cornerstone actions or habits that I repeat every single day, so that at the end of this day, I can feel good about the fact that I checked certain boxes around the things that matter to me most. So that's what I want to share with you today. The 7 major cornerstone habits that I include, or try to include, it doesn't always work, that I try to include in every single day, so that by the end of those days, I can feel that no matter what happened, I checked those key actions, and therefore I feel as if I am actually progressing toward being the kind of human, husband, craftsperson that I want to be. Okay, so there are 7 things. The first thing that I start with in the morning is a jog. Fitness. Being healthy. We all know why we'd rather be healthy than sick, right? Because when we're healthy, we're engaged, we're energetic, we're more creative, and we have more opportunities to experience life. So it's in our best interest to actually put health somewhere on that priority list. Somewhere in your perfect day, you should do something that contributes to your health, right? So my thing is, as soon as I wake up, I have my jogging shoes ready, I have my phone and my headphones ready, I have my outfit ready, and I just jump into them and I go through the front door and I'm out of there. Before I have a chance to think about whether I feel like it or not, before I have a chance to see the weather, before I have a chance to weigh the pros and cons of whether I should exercise today, I just get out the door. Now, why is this important? Because the thing about these 7 actions is to make them habitual. It is not to schedule them and then fight with yourself, to garner up the willpower, to weigh the options, to struggle inside with whether you should do this, whether you have time or not. But the key that I'm after is to habituate these 7 things so that I don't even have to think about them. So that's the first thing. I wake up, health is important to me because I want to be around. I feel better after exercise. I feel more energized, more engaged, more creative, just better. I have more vitality. And anybody who has done any exercise, you will surely attest to that. We don't necessarily like going to the gym, but we definitely like coming out of the gym. we feel better after it. So that's the first thing that I tackle. It's my morning jog. And the other thing that I look forward to because of this jog is the fact that I get to listen to an audiobook. So there might be audiobooks that I'm listening to at any given moment, which I won't have time for in a day because my day is full of other commitments. So the jog, I start looking forward to it because I know it will be an opportunity to continue a book that I'm really into. So I'm not only benefiting my health in this half an hour that I jog, but I'm also learning. So by the time most people wake up and they have their breakfast, I've already checked off the box around my fitness, but also I've checked the box off for learning, for getting inspired, for getting new information that can help my art, my craft, or my business. I want to give you a little tip about the jog because I've never been a jogger and I've never really enjoyed jogging. But I came across this idea online called slow jogging, and it was developed by this Japanese academic researcher. And I'm going to link it below so you can check it out. But essentially, his whole theory about jogging is that a lot of people who want to get into it, they overdo it. And they try to run too fast. And so they get tired, they get lactic acid in their muscles, and their heart is beating way too fast, which means their body is thinking, oh man, this is an emergency, And eventually what happens is they get too tired and too discouraged because of the way they approach their jogging to try it again. And the whole key to jogging actually having any beneficial effects is to repeat it, repeat it day after day, right? So that over some time, you will start seeing the benefits. So he basically, this Japanese researcher said, why don't you try jogging really, really slow? So do a lot of footsteps, land softly on the front of your foot. Don't land heavy. Don't try to run fast. If there are people walking by you because you're jogging so slow, it's almost like jogging in place, that's fine. But guess what, folks? The revolutionary thing about this idea, because I tried it, and sure, it looks kind of silly at first because I'm jogging really slow, but I didn't get tired. And I was able to do 5 kilometers. I could actually come home and show my wife on the phone, look, I just did 5 kilometers. And I'm not even winded, I'm not even tired. And guess what? I'm ready to do this again tomorrow. And that's the biggest difference. That's what allowed me to keep jogging every single day. And the kilometers are starting to pile up. I mean, if I'm doing 5 kilometers 4 times a week right now, that's 20 kilometers a week. That's 80 kilometers a month. That's pretty good. And guess what? No lactic acid. I'm not tired. And I'm still getting the exercise because I'm obviously doing more than just walking, right? It's called slow jogging. Look it up. I'm going to link it below. I really recommend it. With your favorite audiobook, it's a perfect pair. So that's the first thing. Fitness, however you want to do it. For me, it's slow jogging. The second thing that I do is prayer and meditation. Now, here again, I link the prayer with an action that I already have to do so that it doesn't become like, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to have time for it? No, I simply do it when I'm walking to the studio. The walk to my studio is about 15 minutes, which is perfect. Instead of letting my mind wander, I basically commit this time to prayer. And I do this every single day for 15 minutes. Basically, the idea is to get outside of yourself, to transcend yourself, to gain a different perspective. For those who believe, like me, it is a time to tune into the frequency of the higher intelligence that we believe created us. And this is what I found in my life. The more I feel as if I'm in tune with this intelligence, the more my life becomes harmonious and fruitful. Now, if you don't happen to believe, I would encourage you to spend time every single day to zoom out, to gain a bigger perspective, to think about the things that you're grateful for. And that can really fill you with some wonder and some inspiration before you actually put your head down into the daily tasks, okay? So that's the second thing I do, which is prayer, meditation. Meditation is another thing that I will do throughout my day. Basically, I use meditation to break up my day. So let's say my morning routine, I have some things I need to get done. When the morning is done and I need to reset, I need to start on a different set of things, or I'm going for lunch, I will basically cap off that working session with a mini meditation session. Okay, I put on a timer. There's a timer online called meditation timer, I think. 7 minutes. And I just simply close my eyes. I'm sitting in my studio chair and I make myself aware of my body. So I start from my head. I start basically just becoming aware of my entire body from head to toe. My neck muscles, my shoulders get stiff. I'm sure many of you who sit in the studio, your shoulders get stiff. So I'm basically focusing, I'm being aware of them loosening up, chest, stomach, hips, thighs, just being aware of my whole body, just scanning it. And believe me, folks, it brings you so much peace when you take 7 minutes to become aware of your own body and just to sit in stillness without rushing to the next thing. I find it really helps and I really recommend it. The analogy I would give for meditation is most of our day is spent swept up by the stream of the river, by the current of the river. And that's our thoughts. So like a thought appears in your mind and you immediately stick to it. You immediately get carried away by it. And that thought could be, oh, I need to email Steve. And so right away you start emailing Steve. And then another thought, oh, I need to take care of the garden. And then you start, okay, calling your wife to talk about the garden. And you just keep jumping from one thought to another. But meditation is like stepping out of that river of thoughts and sitting on the bank and just watching as the river flows by with all the debris in it, all our thoughts in it, and not acting immediately. That's the muscle you're training, is that we don't have to react to everything that appears in our mind, so that you start building through meditation space between yourself and the exterior world. So that after some time of meditating, you actually are able to experience a certain thought coming into your mind and you don't stick to it. You don't get carried away by it down the river. But you're able to observe it, you're able to acknowledge it, you're able to let it pass. So that was number 2. We got number 1 was fitness, so slow jog every morning. Number 2 was prayer and meditation, which means acknowledging a higher intelligence outside of yourself if you're a believer. And if you're not a believer, just taking a bigger perspective, zooming out, okay? Zooming out, acknowledging all the things you're grateful for, and also meditation as a way to become skillful at not sticking to every thought that comes into your mind. Number 3, making something of my own. That is the third cornerstone habit. These are not in any priority or list of importance, okay? These are all important. But number 3 is making something of my own. And this really speaks to the fact that the whirlwind, which is this flurry of activities that you have to do every single day, is normally requests from other people, right? Emails, shopping lists, whatever. It's like other folks that need your time and attention and you need to do something for them. Could be your job, for instance. And what happens is that in each of us, I believe there is this quiet whisper that says, you know, you were brought here on this earth as a one-of-a-kind specimen. There's really nobody else like you. And so your experiences, your thoughts, your skills, your passions, your fascinations, this story that needs to be told by you will be unique, right? There's no one else that can tell your story. And we each, I believe, have this built-in whisper that says to us, when are you going to tell your story? When are you going to record your song? When are you going to paint that painting? When are you going to bring forth into the world a unique expression that can only be brought forth by you? I know you're resonating with this. I know, because it's built into each of us. The problem is it's kind of vague, right? And the concrete demands on our time are very specific, like the emails coming in, the things we have to do. And so we just naturally start checking those off. And we never quite get around to making something of our own. And this, I realized as I thought about my life and my journey, is very important to me. It's a very important human need to be able to create something of your own, not something for somebody, but something of your own. And so for me, a perfect day includes time in order to make something of my own, because time and our life is slipping by, folks. We're not getting any younger, and the pressures of life are increasing, right? So who is going to carve out the time to create something of our own, if not us, right? It's our responsibility. So the way I break this down is that I basically break my day down into 2. I have my morning and I have my afternoon. So mornings are the time when I don't have any pressing projects, when I have the ability to schedule 90 minutes for myself in the morning to do something for me, something of my own. That's what I will do. I will do this in the morning, okay? And I found that when I schedule like 90 minutes to 2 hours every morning to work on a song for myself, to work on a book, to work on recording this video, for instance, the world doesn't fall apart. Like all the emails are still there waiting for me. All the phone calls I have to do, I can do them in the afternoon. So generally, I spend the morning, my freshest time. It's my best creative time to create something from me, okay? And after I'm done with that, then I feel satisfied and I can move on to other people's demands, other people's tasks, other people's projects. And you know what? It's been working. Believe me, it's 90 minutes a day is more than enough to feel satisfied that you did something of your own authorship, and still get to your other demands without a problem, okay? And this speaks to the idea of this Eisenhower Matrix. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's this idea of how you organize your time. And so normally, the things that take priority are things that are urgent and important, okay? That's what we normally tackle first. And notice how recording an album, painting a painting, writing a poem, or creating something of our own is not exactly urgent, but it is important. And you know it's important because your soul is telling you that every single day, right? And so the trick in a successful schedule, in a schedule that will leave you feel as if you actually had a great day, is to schedule what is important but not necessarily urgent, okay? And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These things, like making something of our own, it's not exactly urgent, nobody's waiting for it, but you know that it is important, okay? Because your soul is calling for it. You have a feeling deep inside that you want to create something of your own. And that's why you have to habituate scheduling that every single morning, if you can. Maybe you're not a morning person. Maybe you do it at night. The point is schedule time to make something of your own every single day. That's number 3. Number 4 is reaching out, okay? Reaching out, creating relationships. Notice, folks, I've said this before. I will keep saying it. All opportunities, all projects, all your best moments will be as a result of other people, okay? It will be as a result of relationships. And so the more relationships with fine folks that you can nurture, the more you maximize your chances of there being a market for the stuff that you are creating, of opportunities coming your way because of your contacts, of being introduced to other people because you develop a relationship with great folks. So this is something that a lot of people feel uncomfortable with, like emailing strangers. But I found that this is a game changer in my career, that if I manage to habituate emailing 3 people or reaching out to 3 people every single day, then those 3 people, if I do this every day, turn into 15 people a week, 60 people a month, 720 people a year. Now you tell me if something good is not going to happen after reaching out to 720 people a year. Something good has to happen, but we don't leave it up to chance, reaching out to other people. We don't leave it until we feel like it. We're never going to feel like it. The key is to habituate it, to schedule it, to make it automatic every single day. And that's my 4th cornerstone action, that is reaching out. I will reach out to either a mentor, to a hero of mine, to a client that I want to work with, or a collaborator that I want to get in the studio with every single day. That's number 4. Number 5 is walk and think. So another way I interrupt my day, in addition to meditation, is by walking. And again, I will combine this with another action that I have to do every single day, namely eating lunch. So what I do is I basically think of a place that I'm going to eat lunch on any given day that's 20 to 30 minutes away from the studio. And I will use that opportunity to walk, which has multiple benefits. Obviously, it has health benefits, right? And also what I use it for, which is the most important, is the opportunity to think consciously about a challenge, a question, or an opportunity that I'm having. Because obviously we're struggling with We're struggling with a bunch of things. We're contemplating a bunch of things. But notice how we never devote any quality thinking time to it. These things sort of cross our mind. We sort of think about it, but not really. And then we get caught up in the whirlwind again. So this walking time is a way of breaking up my day and basically devoting this time to conscious thinking about a challenge, an opportunity, or a question that I have. And for some reason, I can't tell you why this is, but I think way more effectively, way more creatively when I'm not in my working environment. So every time I leave my studio and I am moving, I am actually walking, I have ideas for melodies of a score that I might be working on. I might have ideas on what kind of video to do. I might have ideas on what kind of course content to share with my masterclass. But most of these things come to me while I'm walking. They don't come to me while I'm sitting in front of a computer. And I encourage you to try this for yourself. Break up your day with a half an hour walk every single day. And don't let your mind wander aimlessly, because that's what it's inclined to do. But set it toward a specific problem, a specific question, or idea generation. Just ask your mind to consciously think about this problem. And I promise you, you're going to get some really great and inspired ideas. But you got to get out of your studio. You got to get out of your house. You got to get moving. You got to get walking. So that's number 5, walking and thinking. Number 6 is journal time. Anybody that knows me knows that this is something that I always carry with me. In fact, I outlined this video in this journal, and my journal is a way of keeping a record of my life. So I don't know if you noticed this, but ever since we got the Facebooks and the Netflixes and the HBOs and the screens and the smartphones, it seems like time is just slipping by. It seems like life is just slipping by. Like days are just getting blurred, weeks, months, years are getting blurred. It's almost as if we are in some kind of a hypnosis half of the time, and we don't realize where the time is going. Well, the journal is my way of being able to recollect myself, to gather myself once again, to gather my attention and to focus it right here on these pages to remind myself, what kind of a day did I have today? What did I think? What did I feel? What did I experience? What questions do I have? How might I approach a certain problem? I mean, folks, think about journals this way. Have you ever tried to put a puzzle together without seeing the pieces? Now think about what's going on in your head. Everything that's going on in your head is happening behind your eyes. You have multiple questions, fears, worries, thoughts, excitements, opportunities, passions. It's all boiling behind your eyes, in your head. You can't see any of it. And when you can't see it, you can't order it. You can't make any sense of it. So you're being pulled from one thing to another because you have not taken the time to actually empty the contents of your head, of your mind, into a journal like this so that you have it before you, your eyes can see it, and now you can see, okay, what things am I worried about? 1, 2, 3. How can I manage this worry? What can I do about it? 1, 2, 3, write it down. And believe me, after a session like this with yourself every single day, where you journal everything that's on your mind, you're going to feel like you have clarity of thoughts, clarity of purpose. You're going to feel inspired because you're going to see all the ideas that you're able to come up with that are on record now. They're not just like stuck somewhere behind your eyes, maybe never to be retrieved again. Maybe you'll forget about them. They are right here. And you know what's amazing? I have like 1,000 of these journals. Okay, I'm just piling them up year after year. And sometimes I will sit on my bed and I will reach for a journal from like 5 years ago. And it's amazing to see the progress of your life when it's recorded. The thoughts you had as a 25-year-old, then the thoughts you had as a 30-year-old, the fears you had as a 35-year-old, the aspirations you had as a 40-year-old. It's all there for you to see. And then you can start seeing patterns. You can start seeing and getting to know yourself so that you don't repeat certain mistakes that you made in the past, which is something that is more likely to avoid. making the same mistakes if you're actually aware of what's going on in your life. And I find that journaling is that way of making yourself aware and less prone to certain mistakes that come from just going through your life unconsciously. The other benefit of journaling that I just realized was a great benefit is the fact that my kids one day, and maybe their kids, will have access to these journals. I basically became aware of this while writing recently, and I'm like, hey, I might not be the only one reading this. In the future, my kids might be reading this. And so now, when I'm writing in my journal, I'm actually aware of that dimension, which is that my kids or their grandkids could be reading this someday. So sometimes I put little nuggets in there, like, hey, if you're reading this, don't make the same mistake that I did. And I hope that someday this will be really helpful and inspiring to them to see how their father went through life, went through this journey, approached my challenges, how I thought about things, how I tried to inspire and strengthen myself to be better and better every single day. And journaling is certainly a big part of that. So that's number 6. And speaking of kids, speaking of family, number 7 is another very, very important, fundamental, cornerstone action for me, which is family time, okay? I feel like family is one of my best productions, okay? My most epic, my most miraculous production. I don't think I will ever be able to create anything in a studio like what I have at home, my family. And I find it quite amazing that human beings can actually create other human beings, that we can invite them into this world, onto this planet, into this drama, this adventure called life. And we can show them the ropes, and they can watch us as we struggle on our journey, and they can learn their lessons from it. And hopefully there will be good lessons that they can apply and show their kids and their grandkids. So family requires your time, your conscious time, your engagement, right? It's not enough just to have a family, know that they're sitting at home. We actually can only benefit our family members by being present, by sharing our lessons, by sharing ourselves, our time and energy with the family. And so that's something that I sometimes struggle with, because when I have a lot of projects going on, I'm stuck in the studio. And even when I leave the studio, I'm still thinking about my work when I'm at home. And that's not exactly family time well spent. And so another thing that I want to be able to check off at the end of the day is that I actually came home, I put away the phone, I hide my laptop, and I actually reset myself not to think about work, but to devote 100% of my attention to my son, to my daughter, to my wife, see what they're struggling with, give them a word of encouragement, play a game with them, just be with them consciously, right? There's so many things that are stealing us away from our loved ones, like a smartphone with an algorithm that's going to feed us all sorts of stuff that we love. But do we really love it with a big L? I'm not sure. I can definitely tell you that we might regret not spending time and energy with people that we really love with a big L, because our smartphone kidnapped us or our screens kidnapped us. So that's something I'm very mindful of, and something that I definitely want to incorporate into my perfect day. So these are the 7 cornerstone actions that I believe are essential to me feeling as if I made the most of every day. Just to recap, number 1, fitness, however you want to do it. Stay healthy so you can stay vibrant, creative, energetic. Number 2, prayer and meditation so you can stay healthy on the inside, so you can keep your inner kingdom healthy, so that you can keep your soul healthy. Number 3, making something of my own, which is another thing to keep your soul healthy, because your soul is crying out for you to make a unique contribution, as you should. There's not another person like you in this world, and this world is waiting for your unique story, your unique contribution. Don't let the world and its whirlwind steal your time. Schedule time every single day to make something of your own. That was number 3. Number 4, reaching out. It's good when we lock ourselves away and we create, but our work eventually has to have some kind of attraction. It's meaningless unless it is in relationship with other folks. So in order for other folks to experience us and our work, we have to reach out to these folks, right? I recently made a video about a tree, and I feel like this is a great analogy. So think about the roots of a tree as these routines and rituals, as these cornerstone habits that you're going to habituate, and then you're going to schedule and you're going to make automatic eventually every single day. These are your roots. This is what keeps the tree standing. The branches, on the other hand, is reaching out toward the sun. It's reaching out toward the external world. It's creating the relationships. And all your opportunities, all your projects, all your best moments are going to come from other people. So make sure you habituate reaching out to people every single day. It doesn't have to be a lot. 3 people a day is 15 a week, 60 a month, 720 a year. 720 people a year. Something good has to happen. Number 5 is walk and think. Just interrupt your day with a 30-minute walk and ask your brain to think about a problem, an opportunity, or a question consciously instead of letting your mind wander. It'll be good for your health and it'll be good for your career. Number 6 is journal time. This is the best way to recollect yourself. It's the best way to reflect, to learn about yourself, your life, to see patterns, and also to leave these lessons, perhaps for your kids and their grandkids, so they can have some help and inspiration from you long after you're gone. And number 7, of course, is family. Family. It's what I call a spiritual gym. All right. This is where we get stronger spiritually, surrounded by personal trainers who make us work hard sometimes, but they do it for our own benefit. A perfect day for me is one where I actually am able to share myself with others in a conscious, engaged, energized, and enthusiastic way. So those are the 7 cornerstone habits that make a perfect day for me. The more days like this that I can string in a row, so they become weeks, so they become months, so they become years, the more I feel myself changing as a human being, the more I feel fulfilled, the more I feel peaceful about actually taking tangible steps toward the human being that I want to become. I hope this video has been helpful for you, inspiring in some way. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed it. Comment below if you enjoyed it. Ask me questions if you like. I'm Tommy Z, and I'll see you in the next video.